Take us back there, man, when it was just, you were showing up, you were putting yourself out there, you were literally in the doors and homes of these people, blowing their minds as to what is possible with transformational nutrition.
Yeah, that was like, I think back on that time because there's this hustle, man.
Yeah,
it was just like,
yeah.
I was just chomping at the bit for any opportunity to show people that I was legit, and what I had was different than what they'd ever had before, and I was going to open up their mind to the possibilities of what food could be and how it can be also equally delicious but also nutritious. Just been consistent, and I stepped away from a lot of those collabs just because it was a lot. It was a lot, and so I needed to do less so then I could just do more and hone in on my craft and just become the best cook, home chef I possibly could, and be as diverse as possible. Not just kind of stay in my comfort zone, but like have a full repertoire of culinary skills, different nutritional strategies, my goals, how to build muscle, how to lose fat, how to fit food into your lifestyle. Life is this aspect of you are moving forward towards something, and that means you are growing, you are living. And I constantly want to have things in my life that allow me to feel like I am alive and that I am getting better and I am moving forward and I'm challenging myself. I'm Zach Rocheleau, also known as the Flexible Dining Lifestyle, and this is Ever Forward Radio.
Which is right where I want to kind of dive in with you.
Yeah.
So take us back, like like trance sequence here. I want to go back to the good old days of your origin of content creation. When you got started, like 2017, really kind of doing what you're doing now. It was, man, you used to pop up in like everyone's kitchen. You were making their favorite meals, doing all the things. Like, I was with you that one time in I think San Diego, or when we were cooking for Tony Blauer.
Yeah.
And,
man, that was wild.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that the other day because I was trying to remember who it was.
It was Tony and his wife.
Yeah.
We were at Bedros Keuilian's Fitness Business Summit 2018.
Yeah. Yeah, we stayed in your place.
We were staying at my in-laws in Laguna.
Yeah.
And then you were like, yo, Tony wants me to come over. I think it was like some kind of, I want to say I always go to pizza with you because you just make the most amazing pizzas. But I was like, cool, yeah, let's do it. I guess that's what you do. Take us back there, man, when it was just, you were showing up, you were putting yourself out there. You were literally in the doors and homes of these people, blowing their minds as to what is possible with transformational nutrition.
Yeah, that was like, I think back on that time because there's this hustle, man.
Yeah,
it was just like, I was just chomping at the bit for any opportunity to show people that I was legit, and what I had was different than what they'd ever had before, and I was going to open up their mind to the possibilities of what food could be and how it can be also equally delicious but also nutritious. And it was just such a cool it was like, when I think about it, it was, you walk into the house and you have no idea what the whole day was going to be like, because you'd walk in and it was just, you kind of had to be a chameleon because you knew you were cooking 2 to 3 meals that day. But then what are you doing in between? You're not just cooking meals, you're hanging out, you're shooting the shit, you're building a relationship, while also trying to film a really entertaining YouTube video.
Mild detail.
It's it's like, and when you're kind of shooting it yourself and you're just setting up tripods, and
you're the team, you're the director,
you're the editor,
everything.
It's everything. And so not only are you picking the menu, and then you're actually letting them pick the menu, and you're kind of going with the flow and trying to figure it out. It just was a really cool moment where it's hard not to feel like you have some type of imposter syndrome. Like, who am I doing this when was relatively new at the time?
Right. Yeah.
And are they even going to like it? Like, you're just waiting for that one person to be like, oh, that sucks. Like, you're like, wow, this is going to
taste like shit.
Yeah. And then I'm in their house and like, we're filming a video, and, but every time it was just good vibes. And it was like, it was what gave me momentum, and it gave me a lot of momentum behind my brand. So I ended up building on my YouTube and my Instagram from there, and it was great. Yeah. And I remember at that time, it was, I just had some big big time collabs that were awesome. But
Walk us through memory lane a little bit there. Who are some of the people that you are in their house or in a kitchen with them, preparing food for them, that you're just like, how the hell did I get here? Like, what is life?
Oh, man. So when I think about it, because like back then it was way different than it is now. So like back then, I remember I flew out to Portland, Oregon, and I collabed with Julian Smith, who was like, back then he was the quad guy. So he was back when Optimum Nutrition was like the team.
Oh yeah, Team On.
Yeah, they were huge. It was like
the team.
Yeah, it was him, Steve Cook, and trying to think of who else was even.
Was Paige Hathaway with them?
Paige, Nick Cheadle was with them.
Yeah.
A few others, but like he at the time had like over 1 million followers, and I had less than 100,000. And I remember he posted a picture of me. It was like 2000. I think it was 2017. This is 2017 when this was a long time ago. Yeah. And because like if you went to a fitness expo, his line was like,
oh yeah,
so long.
Yeah.
And I remember when I had built a relationship with him, and I remember being at expos, and like I would walk by, he'd be like, "Yo," and everybody's like, "Oh shit!" Like, yeah. I was like, "Yeah, what's up? What's up?" And so I went out with him, and he posted a picture with me on his page, and I think at the time I had 96,000 followers, and
which is 2017.
Not terrible,
not bad at
not
all.
terrible.
Man, that's amazing.
And he posted one picture with me, and it was just us out in this parking lot, like holding groceries. I gained 7,000 followers in the next like 4 to 5 hours.
4 to 5 hours.
Yes, it put me over 100,000, and I was like, "Oh, this is what collabs do." Oh man, this is nice. So then I just repeated that across my YouTube channel and my Instagram and all of that, and I haven't done a collab like that in years.
The glory days of collab.
But it is something I've been thinking about doing more as my Rolodex has gotten much bigger in regards to NFL, NBA players. Like
your cookbook's gotten a lot bigger.
Oh,
too,
they've gotten a lot bigger as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So shit. Back then, I think I had 2, maybe 1. I think 1 or 2 back then. Now I have 8 going on 10.
Damn.
So it's like, yeah, it's just been consistent. And I stepped away from a lot of those collabs just because it was a lot. It was a lot. And so I needed to kind of do less so then I could just do more and hone in on my craft and just become the best cook, home chef I possibly could, and be as diverse as possible. Not just kind of stay in my comfort zone, but like have a full repertoire of nutrition, culinary skills. Yeah.
Do you think of yourself as a chef, as a cook?
I used to not, but now I do. Yeah. Now I do. Now I feel
what caused that shift?
Work. Like in regards to just no recipe is off limits. No food is off limits. No category, everything. Literally testing the boundaries of everything I know and getting outside of my comfort zone, using ingredients I've never really used before, and making it to where like I could compete with other people that have culinary backgrounds and things like that.
Really? You think so?
I don't. Okay, so would I be able to compete in regards to if we were in
in terms of what?
Like if we were on a cooking show and they were able to use full calorie fucking like every ingredient known to man. It's like I just don't cook with those ingredients that much. But if they were to have to be put in my world, I would dominate. Yeah. Like they wouldn't even know what to do. If I said, "Hey,
like 96.4 meat, cauliflower rice."
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, fucking hurry up. Yeah, come on, try it out. Like, see if you can create a recipe within this macronutrient profile. It's like, I don't think so.
So now with your chef hat on, right?
Yeah.
Has that changed the lens through which you view how you do what you do? It feels like maybe there's a little bit more ownership in like the title, the skill set.
Yeah.
Has that shifted how you actually go about doing what you do?
Yeah. So I would say it's more of I think about it all the time. So like before it was, so if you look at my name, the flexible dieting lifestyle, I don't think that really entails what I am anymore and what I do. I feel like I've evolved outside of that because back when I started the flexible dieting lifestyle, it was more of like I wanted to talk about flexible dieting and all the things that happen with it.
That's when that was like the blow up time of if it fits your macros, flexible dieting, maybe even a little bit of intuitive eating kind of thing. It was very much more of a collective.
Yes. And that was was great at the time because it was like my profile was me talking about different nutritional strategies, my goals, how to build muscle, how to lose fat, how to fit food into your lifestyle. Not mainly, hey, here's how to cook.
Right, right.
Here's how to cook macro-friendly meals. And now that's...
More so is now.
Yeah, and that's significantly why I've grown. I've grown a ton. Since January till now, I've doubled my following.
Yeah, I saw it, man. I was like, I've seen you once or twice this year since then. And I was like, I was looking at his account today. I was like, 1.1 million. Like, bro, when did that happen?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It was like, definitely wasn't like that the last time I saw
No,
you.
so like November 2 years ago, I had 370,000 followers, and I had just, for the life of my profile, so I started my Instagram in late 2015, and every week, I mean, I gained about 1,000 followers a week for the life of it, but that gets you to where I was at that point in time.
Right, yeah.
And at that trajectory, it was just going to take me forever to reach 1 million. And then I told myself November 27th, 2021. I said, I'm taking a break from YouTube and I'm going to master short form, and I'm going to spend more time learning new skills in the kitchen. I'm going to spend more time on R&D. I'm going to spend more time becoming the best version of the value add that I give to people. And that is what they want is food.
Which kind of, to interrupt a little bit there, it kind of seems a little counterproductive to what you're doing. If I want to go watch somebody, if I want to learn how to make something, I'm looking for long format content. I want the ingredients, the prep, the cooking. I want, I want to see how you're doing it. Long format kind of makes sense, but you consciously chose to say no to that and then downshift to short format. Why?
So YouTube is a lot of work. Long form is a lot of work, and long form you can't, okay, let's put it this way. I wasn't as confident in my abilities as I was showing off on
your preparation capabilities or the content creation capabilities?
Both. Like in regards to, I felt like I was in such a narrow scope of recipes that I felt very comfortable in, that I felt like an expert in.
Okay.
So I needed to take a step away because if I ever ventured out of that, I didn't feel comfortable talking. I didn't have enough experience. So I wanted to step away from that. So then I could master short form, which I hadn't mastered yet. I wasn't even on TikTok yet. And I needed to have more time to spend on R&D and practicing, like literally practicing, and not just making recipes I know are going to work, trying a bunch of shit that I don't know is going to work.
So you kind of zoomed out as to not only the content, the platforms, but where is my time and energy and resources going and what makes the most sense?
Yes. Because I would see, it's funny how this all it all manifested. So I'd ask myself the questions, like I see cooking shows. Could I even survive on a cooking show? And it made me very self-conscious because I'm like, well, how would a chef consider me a chef? And I started asking me all these questions, ask myself all these questions. I'm like, no, it's like, okay, well, this is where like the imposter syndrome comes into play. It's like, well, I haven't done the work. I've only stayed in my own little lane where I feel comfortable instead of bridging out and like literally providing incredible amounts of value by venturing out into every food available and making the most macro-friendly version of it. Yeah. And that's what I did. So I stepped away from YouTube. I will be back January 1st. Pumped about that. But I literally stepped away from that. And so that's what spurred the growth, was that aspect of taking a step away and taking away any sense of imposter syndrome that I ever could possibly have by actually geeking out at it, like spending as much time as possible with becoming the best version of myself. And so the crazy thing is like I was casted on Next Level Chef season 2 and season 3.
No way.
And it's funny. This is funny how that all plays out. I said no because they want you to literally sacrifice your life for 3 months plus.
Anything for TV. Like, that's it.
Yeah. You can't do anything else. You kind of have to fall off the grid. And I was like, I don't need you guys. I appreciate it. And so like they go hard. They're like, we really want you. And so they've been like really pushing.
You're bringing a lot to the table, like a unique approach to cooking, but also like, I mean, they're not dumb. You're bringing a great following.
Yeah. So that was like really cool. Like I sent that to my parents and they're like, oh, you need to go on. Like everybody was so proud. I'm like, nah, like you don't understand.
I mean, that's not a humble brag. That's a clarity moment. That's a clarity moment of recognizing opportunity, but recognizing what matters most for the bigger opportunity that you're working towards.
Yeah. It was a cool full circle moment. And that was just a big thing for me, was how do I take away any moment of not feeling like that imposter syndrome? I think that's what we all have, those moments, and I just outworked it.
Yeah.
I outworked it. And so now it's like, I am so unbelievably confident in what I do because I have no fucking reason not to be. I put in the hours, I put in the time, and no one over the past 10 plus years has put in more work than me. No one. I literally think about that. I'm like, who day in and day out for the last 10 plus years has been cooking macro-friendly recipes more than me? I don't know anybody. Like, I really think about it, and it's a crazy thing to think about, because
that is so specific. And so, I mean, there are a lot of people in the flexible dieting world, if it's your macros world and nutrition world.
Yeah, so they might have been around macros and like
but
hitting their macros and stuff, but not actually.
Not staying true to this format, this approach, this value, this content, this education, this entertainment. How do you stay so true to that?
It's my lane. It's my lane. There's a startup cost in anything else I want to do. I really enjoy it. And it's like, the further I get into it, the more details I figure out, the more things that, like, because the deeper I go, the more different I am than anybody, because no one can have the perspective that I have. If I
Say that again, please. That's the deeper you go, the more different you are than anybody else.
Yeah. I mean,
I just said it for you, but
no.
Go back, say that again, man.
Yeah. So the deeper I go, the more different I am than anybody else. And I said that right, huh? Yeah. Okay. I just
quoted you, quoting you.
Yeah. Now you tripped me out. I'm like, fuck, man, is that even what I said? But it's true.
Damn.
Because there's a perspective that comes with nuance, and you the deeper you go, the more personal it is, the more unique your perspective is, because we're a culmination of all the experience that we have. And if I have had 10,000 plus experiences in my own niche, in my own domain, no one could think like me. I'm truly unique. I am irreplaceable, because no one's going to have that perspective. And if I go and do something else, I'm a beginner at something else. And so there's a lot of people that have that perspective. And then it's going to take me another 10 plus years for me to have as unique of a perspective that I do now. So this is my high leverage thing, and I really enjoy it. And how beneficial is it that you can walk into a kitchen and at any moment you can solve your craving in a healthy way? It's like, how many things in life are that impactful? Because we eat majority of our meals at home. We have to, like, healthy people cook for themselves. It's just a fact. We know that. So it's like, what is the value of being able to, oh shoot, I have a craving, knowing that you have the ability, the confidence to walk into the kitchen, make something that's going to tackle that craving just like that, relatively easy, and taste delicious, and keep you on track. It's like, wow, that's incredible.
I mean, if everybody had that skill set, I'll go out on a limb and say, I don't think we would have the obesity problem that we do. I don't think we would have the type 2 diabetes problem. I don't think we would have all-cause mortality problems that we do. I mean, a lot of other different reasons, of course, but we trace it back to the craving, the emotion behind this sensation that we have to satisfy. And we don't have adequate tools to satisfy it. Many people don't have adequate tools to satisfy it in a way that is going to satisfy it and not screw you over. Not take away your health.
Yeah. It's and we talk about food, it shouldn't be emotional. Like a lot of people talk about it. It's like, well, we're emotional creatures. Like, you can't take away emotion, then we're just robots. Like we're AI. Like that's what makes us us, and that's how we have emotional connection with each other.
That's the core of Breaking Bad. Breaking bread. Is it not? It's like,
I thought you were gonna say Breaking Bad. I'm like, damn,
that's something different. That's a
like,
different.
All right,
that's a different craving.
But yeah, it's really cool, and I think that the better tools we have, the better we're gonna be. And the freedom that you have, it's like, no, you don't have to eat all your meals at home. No, you don't have to. I mean, you can eat out and enjoy that, but like, the math is in our favor. Let's just say we eat at home. We eat 3 meals a day. And let's just say across a week, that is 21 meals. So let's just say so 21 times 52, Like, let's just say if we save 200 calories on each meal, that's 600 calories a day. And so if you multiply that all the way out, it's well over 200,000 calories you're saving over the course of a year.
Which is how many pounds?
It's about 60 to 62 pounds.
A year.
A year. So it's like when you look at somebody like that is on the trajectory of like gaining weight, it's just a 200 calorie difference at every meal. And when you control the variables, then you can actually make something that fits a lot easier, and it doesn't even have to be anything crazy. And we're just talking about 200 calories.
That's in many meals. That's the difference of a couple more bites or not.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like when most people think about nutrition, they think about massive intervention. It's just not the case. Like, you don't have to have this massive change for success. You just need to make some small changes and make it sustainable, make it a lifestyle. And if it can't be a lifestyle, just like we talked about it earlier, like if your goal is XYZ, but you have to change your life to where you won't even like the life that you're living, why even have that be your goal? So that's when I see a lot of diets where it's like, where you set a deadline where like it's like, yeah, you can have goals, but like it can't be a complete 180 when the goal's done.
The deadline is end of life.
Yeah.
That's the deadline.
Yeah.
That's the literal deadline.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's some deep.
Yeah.
I never thought about it that way.
Registered trademark, Chase Tuning 2023.
Deadline.
Deadline. I had a couple questions pop into mind. I want to see where I want to take this with you. You have a lot of confidence around what you do.
Yeah.
And there's no doubt you have a lot of self-mastery, in pursuit of self-mastery and mastery over some pretty unique skill sets. Do you feel like you've kind of done it all, seen it all? Man, I've done healthy version this, healthy version that, less calorie this. Like, I've blown my mind and blown the appetites and satiety of myself and so many people. Like, do you get bored? Like, what's left for you to do? Kind of try, man. Like, what else is there?
You know what's crazy? The more I dive into it, the more I'm like, man, there's so much to do.
Still?
There's so much.
Well, like different cuisines or
everything.
Like
there's always a way. There's food science is just, it's pretty damn cool. Like, there's just always small little tweaks you can make.
Oh, so you're talking food science now.
I mean, for the most part, I mean, what it is food science. You're looking at how certain foods react when paired together in order to create an extraordinary result.
I was thinking like different menu items.
Yeah, that's what a recipe is. A recipe is food science. And you're just looking at a bunch of ingredients and how they work well together in order to achieve a supernatural response. And the cool thing is like, if we're looking for like two ends of the spectrum, we're looking at, it's usually they're completely separate. So you have delicious, and you have macro-friendly. So they're usually like fucking on the complete end of the spectrum. So it's like when you're trying to build a bridge between the two, you have to, food science is necessary because you're trying to have the best of both worlds.
It's like In-N-Out double animal style, dry as hell, 98.2 turkey burger in a lettuce wrap.
Yeah, and so it's like, how the hell how do you find that happy medium that achieves both? And so that's the goal of what I do. And so there's just so many food combinations. I feel like I am just getting started, which is pretty cool.
What have been some of your favorite food combinations? Have you been mixing cuisines, mixing ingredients maybe that most people I would never pair broccoli with pepperoni or something? You know, how do you kind of look at the mad science of it all?
I look at, it's because it's like, what do they call where you have like two different types of food and they're combined together? There's like a lot of different fusion. So there's a lot of different fusion restaurants where they'll combine certain
Asian fusion.
And like, I love that kind of stuff. So one thing I've been doing a lot of, I've just loved any type of ramen recipe. So taking just a block of ramen.
Ramen's a love language, man.
Yeah. Oh, it is unbelievable. what you can do with a block of ramen paired with whatever flavor combination you want to add to it, because it's actually kind of a neutral type of noodle for the most part. And
on its own, it doesn't offer a whole lot.
On its own, it doesn't.
Yeah.
But you provide other variables to the recipe that give, because that's mainly the cheat code. So if you want ramen, don't just have a massive bowl of ramen. You want to add different like co-stars to the recipe that give it more volume. So it's like, obviously you want to have a vegetable component that, okay, well, how do you make vegetables taste good? So there's many different ways to go about doing that. But if you want volume and you want it to be lower calorie, you want to have something that's going to keep you full. Well, you're going to have a vegetable component to it. Well, okay, now we need to have a protein component. So, all right, well, what protein source do I want to have? How do I want to marinate that protein? How do I want to cook it? Da, 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 da. So then you're looking at what's the sauce? All right, well, how do I have a sauce that's actually macro friendly? It's like, well, what's the timing of all the ingredients coming together to where one doesn't dry out and everything comes together to where it's a beautiful.
So it really has to be that dissection.
Yeah.
It's a dissection of what kind of came to mind was, I think, where I have gone to, where I think a lot of people probably go to as well, is how can I make this dish, this thing that I love, healthy?
Yep.
I don't know, but all right. Vegetable, carb, protein, sauce. Look at all the ingredients.
Yep.
All right, I can add more vegetables, or I can not cook everything in butter with my broccoli.
Yep.
I can create a better version of sauce over here. Boom, you got the thing that you thought was untouchable.
Yep. And it's a give and take. So it's like, oh my gosh, like when you think of like, oh, I'm craving ramen, it's like, I don't think you're craving just a whole bowl. You just want some ramen.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
and so when you have like I've been doing a lot of ramen stir fries. So it's like you cook up your ramen, then you have a bunch of either stir fry vegetables, then you have a different protein source that you can kind of swap in and out.
But his stir fry game is strong. I think the first dish I had with you when we were in Laguna years ago, you made this amazing stir fry.
Yeah. I mean, it's just tried and true. It's quite simple. And there's just many different like if you learn how to cook vegetables and make them taste good, it's not very difficult.
Life hack.
It's a life hack, man. Because now you have a way to provide volume to any meal and you actually really enjoy it. You're adding micronutrients, you're adding fiber, you're adding volume that keeps you full. And then, yeah, the taste is still there. It's such an added complement to the meal. So it's like when you look at a meal that's, oh, I want to have a burrito bowl. It's like, well, most people just want to have, they'll just have rice and ground beef. I'm like, like you're just missing.
That's a stretch for a burrito bowl.
I know, but like just a lot of people.
That's what people think.
Yeah, they'll say, oh, a bunch of rice and then meat. And I'm like, nah, man, you're missing out on a lot of different things where you can keep this a lot lower calorie. But there's just many different ways to go about it. But
all right, so now you're in your chef era, right?
Yeah.
You got your chef hat on. You've been really using this to your advantage for how you create food, how you create content, how you create a living for yourself. I'm going to take that perspective and look at the food industry as a whole right now. We're recording end of 2023. So let's say in 2023, if you were to look at the food industry as a whole from a chef's perspective, a healthy chef's perspective, what's your take? What's the pulse?
Man, I mean, I would say it's not awful, but it's not great.
Have we gotten better?
We've definitely gotten better. Better as in, I guess more restaurants are more conscious of people having actual preferences instead of just having, let's just make it as tasty as possible. But what I say, could you go to any restaurant and get something that's delicious and macro friendly? No. Like I'm of the, it would be really damn cool to be able to go to any restaurant and have that be the case. But
imagine opening up a menu and just plugging in your macros.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking for a meal no more than 500 calories, 800 calories.
And it's all on there. You know, literally it's not like you have to go on some nutrition thing on somebody's website to find it. It's like literally on the menu, really easy to find. It's just tough because food, the inflation of food is crazy right now. To where normal meals that aren't healthy at all are now what healthy meals used to cost. So now what does a healthy meal cost? It's expensive as shit, to where now it's even more important to be able to make recipes at home and be able to do it in an easy and efficient way. Yeah, man. I love eating out and I think it's great, but the amount of times I eat out and I'm just like, like, that was good.
Yeah.
That was good. But like, fuck, man. Like,
Is it like, that was good?
that was good.
I
like,
can do better, or like,
Yeah.
like it missed the mark.
it was good. I could have done better. And then also, if it wasn't for my friends here, it's like, I don't think I would have. I like to eat out because of the camaraderie, and it's
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
food is,
You
the
get
food
something more than just a meal out of that.
yeah. And so if I'm just going out just to eat, it's like cool, but like I'm always in the back of my mind, I'm not like, wow, like that was unbelievable. I couldn't have done that myself. It's like not tooting my own horn, but that's not the goal that they have. Like
Right.
their goal
Different
is,
perspective,
yeah,
yeah,
their
different
goal is
goals,
to
yeah,
make it
yeah.
as delicious as possible. They're not trying to feed me. I come in there with a different perspective. And I eat out for my friends and the camaraderie. I don't eat out just to geek out on all the food, and it's so good.
Having such a food preparer's mind and having such a health conscious mind,
Yeah.
you're not alone, man. A lot of people, when they're trying to make these choices in their life, I think dining out, food is usually at the core of a lot of that. And eating out is one of the most difficult things for a lot of people to maintain in pursuit of their goals.
Yeah.
How would you advise somebody right now to navigate that and actually learn how to win those situations?
Yeah. I mean, the more you do it, the better you're going to be. It's just going to come down to awareness, nutritional awareness of understanding what's in certain foods. So what's a protein source? What's a fat source?
Doing your
What's a carb?
homework.
Yeah. Well, you don't even have to like look up the restaurant prior. It's
Yeah.
just like the more, if you track your macros for a few months, you'll have this background of knowledge. Then you know when you're eating out, well, what's their goal? They're going to make food as delicious as possible. How do they do that? They're going to cook everything in a lot of fucking butter and oil. So that's the main difference in a lot of recipes when you eat out. It's just they're cooking things in a ungodly amounts.
Count on a lot of oil and butter.
Yes, a lot. And if we look at the macronutrient dietary fat, it's just not very voluminous. Like it adds up very, very quickly. 9 calories per gram. Just literally a gram of oil is 9 calories. So it's like when you put it into, they're probably using 100, 200 calories.
They're eyeballing that.
Yeah, they're just like
eyeballing that. Yeah.
and it's not even anything to them. They don't give a shit, nor should they. So when you're eating out, you just got to understand, okay, do you want to give a shit when you're eating out? If you do that, if you're eating out a lot, you have to, and you have goals. If you're only eating out a couple times a month or once a week, I don't care. Like, just don't be an idiot. But like, you don't need to be, hey, could you do this? Do you do like? You don't need to worry too much of that. But if you're eating out 3-4 times a week, it's like, well,
different game.
yeah, we're talking about a much higher percentage of your meals, which with this much higher calorie percentage. So it's like, then you got to make a much better decision. So you can order things without oil, have them steam certain things. Like steamed broccoli from the restaurant is just fucking not good. But
it really isn't.
It's so gross,
really,
man.
I just got like that taste of not good broccoli in my mouth as soon as you said that.
It's not good, man.
It's really
not. It is like literally like microwaving a bag of broccoli and then has no seasoning on it. It's pretty disgusting. But you just have to make some sacrifices, and you're going to look at ways to provide more value to the meal, more volume to the meal. So maybe you do order a salad and be aware of the sneaky, ask for dressing on the side. Always dressing on the side if you're going to be eating out a lot. And then you can moderate how much you're going to put. Always sauce off your sandwich. Just know when they cook you a burger, it's 80-20 ground beef. So it's not going to be that lean stuff. It's going to be that ground chuck, the big old tube. It's not gross, but like it's going to be the fattier. It's literally going to be like 20 grams of fat, 20 grams of protein, which is, as we just talked about, 20 grams of fat, 9 calories per gram, 20 grams of protein, 4 calories per gram. Over double the amount of calories of fat than protein. That's not what we want. So if you're going to be eating out more often, always look for the chicken sandwich. Eat the bun. I don't give a shit. I don't be the one that's just eating chicken breast. But
team carbs.
Yeah, I mean, and if you're going to get fries, just know that they're going to be much higher fat than what you'd be able to make at home. Just because they're deep fried. Enjoy them if you want. and just become more educated on, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it just depends on your goals.
And it never will be.
It never will be. It's just how, I guess it's weighing the pros and cons. So is this a core memory or is it not? So if you're like, damn, I'm with my boys, like we're grubbing and like we're having a good time, I'm eating whatever the fuck I want to eat.
There is a lot of science that proves how you show up emotionally and mentally to a meal will actually contribute to holding on, like storing more fat, holding on to more fat, than like if you have the same meal and like a heightened stress state response, higher cortisol versus like what you're talking about, just an insane serotonin, oxytocin, like to feel good. You have no remorse or regret about that meal. Like
Interesting.
The body will let go a lot of that more.
Well, that's dope, man. Well, I tend to have those types of meals when I'm in that state of mind because I associate it as, is this a core memory? Yes. Okay. No regrets. But if it's not a core memory and I'm never going to remember this meal ever again.
Yeah.
And
what's the trade-off?
There's no FOMO. Like if I'm like, oh, I'm just going to eat a chicken sandwich and like keep it simple. And I'm not the weirdo who's not eating. And I make a smart decision. And I just know that sauces and dressings are where they get you. If you get a salad, just know if they throw a bunch of nuts on top, that's where they're going to get you. Like you're just look for the ways of like, what's the low volume, high calorie things that can be added in here that can throw me off, but don't overthink it. Don't overcomplicate. Like food is meant to be food, aka it's meant to be enjoyed. Don't let it take away from your life. Like let it add to it. And when food is taking away from your quality of life, then you need to reevaluate.
Speaking of life, man, we've been talking about your journey over the years, and you've created a great life for yourself and a very deep and a very driven life. Is your life now what you thought it would be? Or have you kind of just woken up and you're like, oh shit, I had my head down for so long. Am I living my dream?
I mean, you go about it. If you look at life as like this full dynamic thing where you look at all facets of life, like, did I think I'd have a wife and kids by now? Hell yeah. But did I think my life would be what it is now and the opportunities that I have and the fact that I lived in a household where money was the driver of everything we did? We never bought anything that was not on sale. I just always knew the value of $1 from my parents, not because they like shamed me about it, but because it was just
that was your life. That was your norm.
It's what we had to do.
Yeah.
And knowing that now, like, I don't really ever look at my bank account and I just kind of, I live a life to where I don't buy nice things, but I don't worry about money.
But you still live a rich life.
That's the only reason why I make money is because I don't want to have to worry about money. Yeah, I just want to live, man. So if I want to buy something, I buy something. If I don't, I don't. I'm just not dumb with my money. Grateful for my background in behavioral economics. Like I know that I understand the psychological aspect that's happening to me in regards to being a consumer and consumerism. Like I know how to avoid.
I've become aware.
Yes.
I know the game.
It's wild whenever you can kind of understand the game being played as a consumer and all the things pulling for your money.
It's one of the biggest revelations of adulting is like you realize literally everything is marketing.
Yes.
You walk outside your door, open your phone, everything is a funnel.
Everything. And if you can kind of flex that muscle and have the awareness, like you can't take that away and you just kind of make better decisions because of it. So am I proud of where I'm at? Hell yeah. Like, is it really cool? Yes, it's awesome.
And delicious.
And delicious. And do I feel like I'm making an impact? And do I feel like I'm somebody of value that I've always wanted to? I never want to be the person in the room that doesn't contribute. I never want to be the taker. And I've always, sometimes it's a detriment because I'll sacrifice my own well-being to make somebody else feel comfortable. And
true.
Yeah. And it's tough, but would I rather be that than somebody who is just a fucking little asshole that just takes?
Yeah, how do you want to be remembered? People remember those two people. You're going to be remembered, but for totally different reasons.
Yeah, and so I never want to be that person. So I think up until this point in my life, I've given more than I've taken. I'm proud of where I'm at. I've proven a lot of people wrong. I've proven myself right, but I didn't think I was going to be. I don't know. It's like I had doubt. I proved myself. I beat my self-doubt. in regards to just moments throughout journey. I mean, we've all had those moments where
which happens when you do the things that build confidence.
yes, because you don't know what's going to happen. That's why you do it.
Yeah.
If the cards were stacked in your favor, which I like to stack the cards in my favor now. Like I have
Which
opportunity.
we all can, by the way.
Yeah,
it takes all these tools and resources and awareness we're talking about to like educate yourself on how to stack the conditions in your favor.
Yeah.
Like that's how you win in life.
Yeah. So, and then also just understanding there's moments where you like where you try and like self-sabotage for some reason. And like, I did that for a while because I didn't feel like I was worthy. And so I would make decisions that would kind of set me back a little bit. And I'm like, what the fuck? What are you doing? Like, what are you doing? And so it was just all based upon like, dude, do you really deserve this? And so then it was more of like, okay, dude, how do I beat this feeling? It's like, well, I need to outwork it and I need to get myself zeroed out. And so now it's like I'm the most confident I've ever been in regards to what I do because I did outwork it. And it's been really cool. And I feel like it is a cheat code. It's like anytime you feel like a moment of insecurity, it's like, well, man, you gotta lean into it and you have to figure out, well, like, how does this not, because a life of insecurity is it's brutal, man. It's brutal.
That's not life.
No, it's not at all. And we know those people that are confident that their energy is contagious and you're like, man, that's somebody I want to be around. It's like when somebody's super insecure, it's tough. It's tough because they're always seeking and needing validation from external people. And it's like,
what's the right thing to do? What's the right thing to say?
Yeah. And you're not getting that pure form of them.
No.
Yeah.
What's the last thing you did for your mental health? Because you're feeding yourself well, you're feeding a lot of people well, but there are other components here to a rich life.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I've done is it's not like these big monumental things. It's more of like an awareness on a daily basis of like, hey, like I take like micro wins. Like I'm not somebody that's going to pull an all-nighter. I'm not somebody who is going to outwork you on one single day. I have an awareness of, dude, you're good for the day. You're good. You've accomplished what you needed to accomplish. This was a high leverage thing that you got done. And I guess
so you probably have set and know your standards.
Yeah, I know what needs to get done and what doesn't. And once it's done, and everything else is a bonus on top of it. So what I do for my own mental health is just having an awareness of that and knowing that like me working is my choice. No one's done this to me. I'm not a victim to my own circumstance. It's like I choose to do this and I really enjoy it. I don't need to do XYZ to make myself feel better. I don't need to have somebody else tell me what I have to do in order to live a happy life. It's like I know what I enjoy. I know the people I like to be around.
You know that now.
Yeah.
You know that now. You've had to figure that out along the way.
Yeah. So, yes, I would say, did I always have that? No. Do I feel like I've always been relatively self-aware of who I am and how I make people feel? Yes. Have I overworked a lot along the way? For sure. You just don't know what balance looks like until you test those boundaries. Like, what do you know what balance is until you've kind of worked both ends of the spectrum?
You don't know balance until you tip the scales.
Yeah. So that's, so I would say like the biggest thing I've done is just making sure on a daily basis, because I know this is the long game. I know when there's moments where I felt burnt out and this isn't fun, it feels like a burden. It's whenever I'm trying to do too much in one single day. But I just know my best work is just showing up every single day and just getting a win. It's like a little win, something that creates a new perspective. And maybe it's like, shit, on a Saturday morning, I read for an hour and then like maybe I work for a little bit, but I'm not supposed to work that day. But I enjoy reading and I enjoy like learning something new. And then maybe throughout that day, I read something that creates a different perspective that I would have went about my whole day that I would not have read. And then maybe I have an idea that completely changed my life. I've had that happen many times.
You allow yourself to be really in the moment.
Yes, I value time. I value time more than anything. I want, because I know how cool it is for somebody else to spend their time with me. And I know how,
meaning like you recognize that they're giving up their time.
Yes.
To be with you.
1,000%.
Yeah.
And as you become more successful, more people want your time. And I I have a close circle. I have like a really close circle, and I venture out of it sometimes, but I like to protect that a lot, and I protect my time. And
How do you justify venturing out of your circle? What are the checks and balances there to go outside of your circle?
I don't want to sound selfish, but it has to be mutually beneficial. Like, I mean, yeah, if I'm going to spend my time away from something that I like to do, I'm not going to just sacrifice it for somebody else's well-being. It's like, I have to enjoy being around you, or you're helping me with something. It's more of like, to be honest, I don't go around people. I don't care how much money you're going to make me, or how much, if you don't make me feel good, and I don't care what you are.
So you kind of base a lot of your decisions.
Do I like you or do I not?
Around happiness?
Yes, because I know I don't need anything from you. So yeah, like, okay, if we're going to talk about like the aspect of what's changed my happiness the most, is I have zero expectations of anybody else. I have zero, none. I know everybody I mean,
If people can hear that and latch onto that, and it's very much easier said than done.
yeah,
And it kind of sounds even like, I might see how people might think this is negative, but if you just really go, I don't have any expectation of anybody. Lower your expectations for everyone, or majority of people. Certain people, I think you're super tight, close circle. Like you should, I personally think you should have expectations for people.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, then like, you're probably going to lower your guard, and you're going to stop pouring into them.
Yeah.
And then what kind of relationship is that?
yeah. I mean, okay, so when I say zero expectations, obviously there's baseline
Of course.
of like, be my friend. Like, don't be like, come on now. But
What is the standards? My friend,
yeah.
my friend.
And if but anything on top of that,
Yeah.
like, I'm not going to expect one of my best friends to help me move. It's just, like, if we're just talking about purely like, I'll just hire somebody to help.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have like, my friend is my friend. Like,
My friend is not a moving truck.
yes. And so like, I guess when yes, we have this thing where it's like friends are friends and we can confide in them in tough times, 1000%. But like, when a friend becomes like this thing that you just fucking punch on all the time, and you just unload, it's just like a relationship as well, where you just unload everything onto them. It's like, that person has problems too, and they have they're trying to navigate this life and make the most of it. And of course they want to help, and they probably get happiness out of it. I guess for me, it's like, it comes down to like, and maybe it is deep rooted in me. I don't want to be a burden. I always want to be able to contribute. So I want to surround myself with people who are always trying to add value and not just extract more value than
Probably
add.
coming from the same place.
Yeah.
Like, imagine this. Imagine building a circle around people that at their core want to be your friend, don't want to be a burden, and want to add value.
Yeah. It's like, we're all going to
Bro, that's
rise
amazing.
up.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
really cool, it's a
Yeah.
really cool place to be. And it's very obvious when you're in that situation, when there is somebody who just wants to take, because it just stands out like a sore thumb.
You almost don't even need to say anything sometimes.
No, it's everybody's like, consensus, like, all right, yeah, we're not inviting that person
How did this
anymore.
guy get in?
Yeah, he's got to go. He's got to go. So I think that is, yeah, I mean, is it deep rooted that like, that I want to not be a burden? Like, if there's just something that like, and I have to dive into that a little bit more, where it's like, I hate that feeling of feeling like I'm
That's
a burden.
the self-awareness point you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, is it a bad thing, or is it actually like a good thing? I don't know. And I need to do some deeper dive into, okay, what is actually contributing to this like feeling of never wanting to be, because I know I'm not. I know I provide value. I know I just want to be helpful and I want to contribute. But the aspect of where did that come from in regards to when I was younger? What triggered that thing to where now it's like something I think about a lot, and I don't know if it's a blessing or a curse, or it's just somewhere in the middle, which is a lot of the things.
I think the only curse there would be to ignore it.
Yeah.
I think the only bad thing that could come from that would be to not explore it.
Yeah.
I mean, blanket statement here to all of our emotions. We're analyzing, we're in our head in a good way. We're developing or personifying that level of self-awareness.
Yeah.
You're gonna face these things that seem like, oh, is this how I want to show up in the world? Where does this come from? You know, and the worst thing we could do would be to ignore it. I mean, imagine a life you can build for yourself when you actually fully understand why and how you operate, why and how you show up in the world for yourself and for these people. Because at the end of the day, man, if you can nail that down, what we're talking about here, building communities, like at the end of the day, end of our life, relationships, I think, are the only thing that really matter the most.
Yeah. I mean, it's true, and it's all relative. We all know our own happiness, and we're all our own experiments where we're trying to kind of figure it out. And we live in a world where everybody wants to tell us how we're supposed to be happy and how we're supposed to operate our lives, but we're the only ones who are literally right there in the thick of it, that are in our own head, hearing all the thoughts that are going on, and we're the ones that can make that decision. And I guess for me, I just don't hear the noise as much as I used to.
Oh, that's amazing, man.
Yeah, you should do this or you should do that. It's like, well, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But that's where my mind goes in regards to that.
All right, kind of getting towards the end, I want to ask you, alive, who is someone alive right now that you would absolutely love to cook for? And what would be the dish?
Man, that's an interesting question. I feel like somebody asked me this. I've never been one to, and this is where it's like, I don't think I idolize this person or not.
Well, who would be a challenge? Maybe it is someone you really look up to, or just like, you know what? I bet they got just like a weird palate. You know, who is someone you
I guess
really
it would be it would be really cool to cook for Gordon Ramsay and him be like, oh, fuck, this is dope. This is really cool. Like, that would be really cool, because it would be like, oh, this guy knows both ends of the spectrum and can appreciate what I do. And that's one of my goals, is to be able to shoot something with him and him just get his opinion on things and be like, oh, wow, like, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Like, this is valuable. And I get why this is something that everybody kind of needs to have a prerequisite ability to be able to do, because that's powerful. And he's somebody who is the ultimate version of, if you can get him to give you the, damn, this is like that
the seal of approval.
Yeah, it's like, bam, like, wow, that's really cool. So I guess that's where,
let's put it out there.
It'd be cool to see if that could come to reality. I think it's gonna happen. Everything else is kind of falling into place. So I'm like, all right, well, I think it's gonna happen. So yeah.
What would be the dish?
Oh, that's tough. I'd have to research him a little bit more to kind of, because everything I see him make, I don't really see him eating much American style food. And so I'd be curious to see what his favorite American style dish is. And I got to research a little bit more, but like literally when you just asked me that question, it was like, I just like randomly thought about it recently, and I was like, oh, that'd be actually validation. I was like, well, what would be really cool to have on the website? Well, it'd be like Gordon Ramsay testimonial. I was like, that would be like the goat of all goat opportunities. I'm like, oh, well, that'd be really cool. So it's like, that's where it's like he hosts the show Next Level Chef. So I'm like, do I actually like, at some point, it's just, there's so much going on in regards to, I've just taken a much bigger role in my supplement company as well. So like, that's where I just have very little time, and there's a capitalization that we're going for in regards to what we're trying to accomplish with that brand, and then also my personal brand, because they all kind of seamlessly go together. Yeah. So it's, all right,
same question, but someone that's no longer living. Who are they, and what's the dish?
Somebody that's no longer living.
Fictional or nonfiction?
I mean, I'm not going to, I don't want to, no one's going to know this person. If somebody's been following me for a while, they will. It's like, I wish I could cook for my meme again.
I was going to say your grandma.
Yeah. I mean,
we talked about this in the first episode.
Yeah. Anybody that knows me would, she's just a special person. And she, it was tough to see her have dementia, and like that 6 months was wild. Like I remember the conversation I had with her where I was like, damn, she's gone. And she was alive 6 months after that, but she was never that person. She was always so witty. She lived till she was 96 years old. She always told me to, like, my parents had these expectations of me, and she always told me, it's like, just do what you want. And I always listened to her. There it is. And so she guided me, and there's just, I would love to be able to. It's just I never knew when that last conversation was going to happen until it did, and I was like, oh, she's never going to be the same. And it was just really hard. It was kind of like my meme died overnight without me even knowing, because the dementia was just literally within a week. She didn't even remember who I was anymore, and I was literally her baby. She raised me. She lived with us while my parents were working, and she pretty much raised me. And if I could,
what would be the dish you would want to take her down memory lane?
oh man, she would make the best. She's the one who introduced me to crepes, and so she would make the best crepes, and they were buttery, brown sugar filled.
We're not tracking macros on this one.
Oh no, we're not. But yeah, she those, I just remember anytime I'd stay with her, I would just wake up and I would smell those, and I was like, oh, those are so good, and I was just so pumped to have those.
Yeah.
And so we'd probably have that, and we'd probably go get some ice cream that night too. But yeah,
YOLO, baby.
Yeah,
YOLO.
she's the best. Yeah. I just miss having our conversations because we talk for hours and hours and hours. And she's had a big impact on me in regards to, you don't need permission to do anything. You are the one who makes that decision, and don't worry about anybody's expectation other than yourselves of yourself. And you are the one that makes that final decision. Just prove them wrong. Just prove them wrong. And the ball's in your court, and the only way they are right is if you stop and you allow them to be right, and you let
Not if you fail, if you stop.
Yes, and if you stop, because that's the only way you fail. And I was literally talking to, because with Flex, my supplement company, we're bringing on, our goal is to sponsor every food creator in the space. And so we want to be...
That's a gnarly goal.
Yeah. So we want to be the protein powder for food creators, because the only reason why I created Flex is to create the best protein powder for recipes. It's a massive need in the industry because, for example, if you talk to any food creator that has a really good recipe and they use a high quality protein powder that is meant for recipes, they could have a perfect recipe. And then somebody goes, wow, this didn't turn out very good. And then I'm like, well, or they're like, did you use all the same ingredients? They're like, yeah. And then what's the one question you ask them? Well, what protein powder do you use?
Really, it comes down to that.
100,000%. And they're like, use XYZ. And we're like, man, well, it's like, well, here's why. Here's why this didn't work.
I'm about to rock your world.
Yeah.
Problem solved, baby.
Yeah. And so that's a big thing, because if you want to solve cravings, especially on the sweet side of things, and have a macronutrient profile that's flipped on its head to where it's mostly protein, you're only as good as your tools. And so that's where I was literally talking to a kid. His name's Alan. He is 22 years old. And he recently just graduated school, and he's crushing it on TikTok and YouTube. I mean, on Instagram. And I was like, man, he was like, man, like, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. I'm like, all you need to focus on is just keep showing up. You're 22 and you've already built this. The only way you fail is if you stop, and it's no longer fun. So just keep it fun.
And use the wrong protein powder, of course.
Oh, that, of course. That, of course.
Recipes,
yeah, that, of course. But that's where, but he already knew that. That's why we were on the call. But yeah, I just wanted to give him advice in regards to that, because that's the literally only way you lose. I just remember my mama telling me that when I was 19, 20, 21. And she just kept, even though I made some dumb mistakes and all that kind of stuff, like academically ineligible, lost my basketball scholarship, got it back, like
went through some gnarly injuries.
A career-ending injury right after I get back from being academically ineligible. It's like, dude, and the whole time when my parents are like, what are you doing? She's just like, Zach, I know you're a good boy. Like, I know you're talented. Like, you're one of the most talented people I've ever known. It's just, you got to get your shit together. You got to focus and prove them wrong.
And keep going.
And keep going.
That's the whole reason we're here talking, man. That's the same philosophy that my dad passed down to me. And it's the through line that I look for in everybody that I bring on the show.
Yeah.
And I don't think I had this question when you were first on, but I wrap up every interview now asking your own interpretation of that. Ever forward, Zach. What does that mean to you? How do you live a life ever forward? It's
a good question. I would say I mean, it comes back to what we talked about earlier, just not stopping, but it's more than that. Life is this aspect of you are moving forward towards something, and that means you are growing, you are living. And I constantly want to have things in my life that allow me to feel like I am alive and that I am getting better and I am moving forward and I'm challenging myself. And I constantly talk to my parents about this. What makes you excited? Like, what are you excited about? What are you working on right now? Because my parents are getting up there in age and they're retired, and I see the trajectory of when you stop having purpose and you stop having things on a daily basis that are unique and challenging, you're not moving ever forward. You're
not moving.
You're not moving. You are slowly in decline towards the end. And the people that I see that live long and fruitful lives that are awesome until the end, it's the ones that are constantly moving forward and they have things that are challenging them on a daily basis, and they're mentally and physically and emotionally, and they move forward towards it and they welcome it. It's not like this thing that's like a detriment. That's like, oh my God, it's like cool, an opportunity for me to get better. It's like if I ever have an injury, I'm like, oh shit, let's go. I have another opportunity to fix a weak link, and I have an opportunity to get even better because of it. I can become more athletic and more strong, etc. So how can you become a student of life and have a confidence in yourself to know that you'll be able to use all this information in the best way possible? It's like, man, if everybody were to read books, if everybody just read, oh my God, like there's just so much valuable information and perspective shifts that happen where, man, if you just read a little bit every single day, I think that's just a massive, impactful thing. But yeah, I just think everything that you're doing is based on how do I become a better version of myself every single day? It could be the tiniest little thing, but
it usually is, right?
Yeah.
It usually is the little shit.
Yeah. And it just snowballs. It's just a domino effect. And I think that that's where, if I were to say, what does ever forward mean to me? It is just that constant motivation to move forward and look for tiny ways to get better on a daily basis. Cause that's what,
and welcome it.
Yes.
I
and
love
be
that
pumped
addition.
about
and
it.
welcome it.
Yeah.
That's the difference. That's the mindset shift to kind of just go from, positivity. Keep going. Move forward. But what happens when the good, bad, and the ugly come on that path? You got to welcome it. That's
because when
that's a differentiator.
When you look at I was thinking about this recently. When I think of every good thing, every pivotal moment in my life, it was always some annoying ass shit that happened. And I'm like, why now? Why now? And sure enough, it was for me to slow down or me to look around and be like, oh, whoa, like
pay attention. Zach.
Yes, pay attention. If that's like where any bad shit happens, it is like pay attention. Open your eyes, get out of your routine. Hey, there's a big moment here that's gonna propel you forward if you want to see it. But if you see it as this thing that is a burden or something that's not meant to be for you, then you're not going to see it. You're going to miss an opportunity. And that's the difference between people who live an ever forward life and those that are victims. And I think it's a mindset shift that everybody has the opportunity to have. Obviously, some people have been through hell and back. And there's just some people that have used that as a crazy motivation to achieve unbelievable things. And now that you have empathy from all kinds of other people.
Think they have.
Yeah. And they just haven't. And they think that everybody deserves to give them everything and they deserve to be just handed on a silver plate. It's like, man, that's just not how it works.
Not up in here.
Yeah, it's not how
on
it
this
works.
show, baby.
Yeah.
Well, dude, it's been, finally so good to have you back on the show.
Man.
And thank you again. Years ago, I mean, you were one of the early people that just like saw podcasting and saw Everforward Radio in a positive light.
Yeah.
And I loved having you on then, loved having you back now. And congrats on all of the self-mastery that you keep putting yourself on the path towards, and all the hard work and all the rewards that you're getting now with like being so inundated in what you love to do, man.
Well, I appreciate it,
I think
man.
you're being rewarded in some big ways.
Thank you, man. Well, I believe in humans. And like back then, obviously it's like, when you hang out with somebody, you're like, well, this is a good dude. This is a good dude. And you're like, all right, well, I believe that something good's going to come from this. And like we talk about, it's like, it's like reciprocal. It's like it's good vibes. And if I think you're a good human and I think you have good intentions, like, of course, let's do the pod.
Nothing but good vibes.
Yeah.
Baby.
And like all the cool interactions we've had since, it's like, well, it's played out. It's worked out well.
We've had some good life in between.
Yeah.
On and off the air.
It's pretty, it's pretty cool.
It's been beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to have, of course, everything linked in the show notes for everybody. But where can they go to connect with you and learn more?
I mean, I think the one spot is just Instagram, the Flexible Dieting Lifestyle. Just check me out there. Everything kind of flows through there.
Food porn.
Yeah. And so I would say you'll find food there porn. Also, if you're somebody who enjoys using protein powder in order to create food, my supplement brand, Flex Brands, is... I mean, we're
try all your own recipes.
Yeah, that's where we're doing it different, and it's an industry that needs some more innovation. So we're pumped about it.
I'm gonna title this "Food That Doesn't Suck."
Hey, that's good, man.
It's so true, man. He's seriously so good at what he does. I've witnessed it. I've tasted it firsthand.
It's been a minute though.